After watching Christos Tzolis against Coventry City, I think the Premier League has a Tzolis problem, and I'm not exaggerating, because Arsenal have just opened their Premier League title defense with a 3-0 win over Coventry City. 3 points, 3 goals, a clean sheet, and for me, another warning to the rest of the Premier League. The champions are already looking dangerous, but the biggest story for me isn't even the scoreline. It's Tzolis. Because after what he did against Manchester City in the Community Shield, and then what we saw from him against Coventry, I'm starting to think Arsenal may have found another serious attacking weapon. Let's talk about it. Arsenal came into this game as the defending Premier League champions. Coventry came into it as a newly promoted side returning to the top flight after 25 years. So yes, Arsenal were expected to win. But there's a difference between being expected to win and actually putting the game away professionally. Arsenal did exactly that, 3-0. Kai Havertz, Bukayo Saka, Martin Ødegaard, 3 goals, 3 points, and Arsenal temporarily moved to the top of the Premier League table. But the performance was bigger than the result because Arsenal looked like a team that already understands exactly what they want to do this season. They want to defend the title, and they don't look interested in giving anybody an easy start. The first half told the story. Arsenal were aggressive. They moved the ball quickly. They pressed Coventry. They kept creating problems down the flanks. And eventually, the breakthrough came. Kai Havertz opened the scoring. Then Bukayo Saka made it 2-0, and one player kept appearing in the middle of Arsenal's most dangerous attacks, Christos Tzolis. This is where the Tzolis problem begins. Because Coventry simply struggled to deal with him. He was direct, he was aggressive, he wanted to attack defenders, he kept moving into dangerous positions, and he wasn't playing like someone making his Premier League debut. He looked comfortable, very comfortable. And that is worrying for Arsenal's rivals. Because remember what happened only a few days ago. Arsenal played Manchester City in the Community Shield. They won 3-0. And Tzolis produced 2 assists. 2. He helped create Arsenal's second goal for Havertz. Then he created the third for Ødegaard. That was against Manchester City. Now against Coventry, he was again one of Arsenal's most dangerous attacking players. That's not a bad way to start life in England. And the scary part is that Arsenal don't need Tzolis to become their entire attack. They already have Bukayo Saka. They have Martin Ødegaard. They have Kai Havertz. They have Declan Rice. They have other attacking options. So what happens if Tzolis becomes another player defenders have to specifically prepare for? That's the problem, because you can't double team everybody. If you focus too much on Tzolis, Saka gets space. If you focus on Saka, Tzolis gets space. If you try to close Ødegaard, Rice can drive forward. And if Arsenal's midfield gets control, you can end up spending 90 minutes defending. That's exactly what Coventry experienced. And I don't want to be unfair to Coventry. This is an extremely difficult opening fixture. They have just returned to the Premier League. Their first match is away against the reigning champions. There probably isn't a much harder introduction to top-flight football, but Coventry also showed something important. They survived periods of pressure, they limited the damage, and in the second half, they created moments of their own. So this wasn't some completely hopeless performance from Coventry. Arsenal were simply better. Much better. And that's what makes this result interesting, because Arsenal didn't need to be spectacular for 90 minutes. They controlled the game, they scored 3, they kept a clean sheet, and they managed the second half. That's what champions do. And Martin Ødegaard deserves a lot of credit. He scored Arsenal's third, but more importantly, he controlled the tempo. He was constantly involved, he connected midfield with attack, and when Arsenal needed somebody to take responsibility, their captain was there. For me, Ødegaard was one of the biggest reasons Arsenal looked so comfortable. But I'm still going back to Tzolis, because I think his arrival could change Arsenal's attacking options. And this is why. Tzolis doesn't look like a player who simply wants to receive the ball and recycle possession. He wants to hurt defenders. He wants to run at them. He wants to get into the box. And he wants to create. That's exactly what Arsenal need if they're going to compete across multiple competitions, because last season's Premier League title was difficult enough. Now everyone knows Arsenal are the champions. Every opponent wants to beat them. Every team will raise its level against them, and there is no surprise anymore. Arsenal are the team everyone is trying to knock off the top. So Arteta needs more solutions, and Tzolis could be one of them. But here's where I'm going to slow down, because one excellent debut doesn't make Tzolis a Premier League superstar. 2 assists against Manchester City and an impressive performance against Coventry are encouraging. They are not proof that he's going to destroy the Premier League. That's something we have to be honest about. The Premier League is brutal. Defenders will study him. Teams will give him less space. They'll try to force him backwards. They'll target him physically. And eventually we'll see how he responds when Arsenal are struggling. That's the real test. Can he produce against Liverpool, against Manchester City, against Manchester United, against Chelsea, against Newcastle, against teams that don't allow him to dominate the left side? That's when we'll know exactly what Arsenal have signed. But right now, the early signs are extremely good. And Arsenal fans have every reason to be excited, because the defending champions have started exactly how they wanted. A win, 3 goals, clean sheet, 3 points, and top of the table. But there's another reason this result matters. Arsenal didn't just win. They sent another message. The Community Shield win against Manchester City already suggested that Arteta's team was ready. That was a 3-0 victory against the FA Cup holders. Then came the Premier League opener, another 3-0, different opponent, same scoreline, and that is the part rival fans should probably be watching. Arsenal aren't simply getting results. They're starting the season with confidence, they're scoring goals, they're defending properly, and their new attacking options are already contributing. That's a dangerous combination. Now, obviously, it's one Premier League match. I'm not going to sit here and say Arsenal are definitely winning the title again. That would be ridiculous after one game. There are 37 league matches left. Manchester City are still Manchester City. Liverpool are still capable of challenging. Manchester United are rebuilding. Chelsea have ambitions. Newcastle are dangerous. And the Champions League will eventually put enormous pressure on Arsenal's squad. So we need perspective. But if you're asking me what I've seen from Arsenal after the Community Shield and this opening Premier League match, I like what I'm seeing a lot. And Tzolis is one of the biggest reasons, because when you watch him, you can see the difference between simply having another winger and having a winger who changes how defenders behave. That's valuable. And Arsenal now have another player who can create that uncertainty. Do you stay close? Do you back off? Do you double team him? Do you protect the fullback? Every decision creates another opportunity somewhere else. And that's where Arsenal can hurt teams. Saka on one side, Tzolis on the other. Ødegaard operating centrally, Havertz providing the focal point, Rice controlling the midfield. That's a lot for any defense to handle. And today, Coventry simply couldn't handle enough of it. The first goal opened the game, the second made Arsenal comfortable, and Ødegaard's third effectively ended the contest. 3-0. Game over. And Arsenal can now look forward to the next challenge. Because the standard has been set, the defending champions have 3 points, 3 goals, a clean sheet, and they're sitting at the top of the table after the opening match. Of course, the table means almost nothing after one game, but psychologically, it matters. Arsenal have started the season with confidence, and they have immediately reminded everyone why they are champions. But I'm going to leave you with the question I think is much more interesting. Does the Premier League actually have its Tzolis problem? Because if this version of Tzolis continues, if he keeps attacking defenders, if he keeps creating chances, if he keeps combining with Ødegaard and Saka, and if he starts adding goals consistently, Arsenal may have found another weapon at exactly the right time. The Community Shield gave us the warning. Coventry gave us another glimpse. Now we wait to see whether this becomes a pattern. Because Arsenal are not rebuilding from the bottom, they're defending a title, and they've started with 3 points, 3 goals, 3 points, top of the table, and a Tzolis performance that will have plenty of Premier League defenders paying attention. The champions are back, and after what we've seen so far, I don't think they're planning on giving the title away easily.